Welcome back to the Mad Chatter Podcast, episode number 5, with your host, my daddy, Jim Maciejewski, athletic director at Malden High School. Joining him today is Boys Lacrosse coach Andrew Haudricourt and senior goalie Bryce Robinson. Take it away, Dad.
Well, fellas, I appreciate you guys taking some time on a Sunday night to sit down and speak with me.
Yeah.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having us. Glad to be here.
Well, Coach, we'll jump right in with you. Take us through the Cliff Notes version of your background, where you grew up, where you went to school, sports you played growing up, things like that.
Cool. So I grew up here. My parents, though, a big part of my story is my parents are from Buffalo, New York. And so even though I was born in Buffalo, but grew up here, but definitely raised in a Buffalo, New York household. And so right into sports right away. I think my parents really wanted me to play hockey, and obviously hockey down in South Carolina is kind of, not super involved. And so I played a little bit of everything: football, soccer, basketball. And then ultimately when I got to Malden High School, where I graduated from, lacrosse was like the hockey that was available. And my dad always wanted me to be like Ryan Miller. And so jumped in the goal, took to that really well, and ran with that right there for how I got into, playing lacrosse and the sports I played here. And as
Awesome.
far as,
Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So I played lacrosse, just jumped into it, figured it was going to be like hockey. And just fell in love with the sport. I played a little bit of football at Malden, but ultimately lacrosse kind of like stole me away from that, and just fell in love with the sport and made the varsity as a sophomore, and then became a starting goaltender as a junior. Had a pretty good year there with the guys that I was growing up with. And then I was captain of our varsity team in 2014, was all region, and that led me to getting a scholarship to play at North Greenville University. And so I continued playing there. But then, I had a good year at North Greenville and enjoyed it, but really started to think about my future and what I wanted to do. And that was to be like an educator, and then as well as a coach. And so I sought out what was the best school really in the state for education. And that was Winthrop University. So I ended up transferring to Winthrop, wanted to get involved with the game right away. And so I just started emailing local high school coaches and saying, hey, I'm at Winthrop, I really want to get involved. Got an email back from Clover High School. They brought me along, and I started coaching the JV for 1 year, and then I was the varsity defensive coordinator for the next 5 years at Clover High School. So I was teaching up there in Rock Hill at Northwestern High School, but coaching at Clover High School. And my wife and I got married in 2019, and we were looking to kind of move back to the area. Had some offers from other Greenville County schools like Wade Hampton and all that stuff, but really wanted to stay for the team that I was coaching, because I'd been there for 5 years, wanted to see my seniors graduate, and got the opportunity to play Malden in the playoffs that year, won. And so I felt like that kind of finished my story with Clover High School. And then I got the call to be back home. So it was a good deal.
Awesome. Well, it's always good to have more folks from Buffalo down here. Like we need more Buffalonians in the South. Unfortunately, you're a Jets fan, which is extremely disappointing to me. But that doesn't change the way I feel about you, man. I still love you. All right, Bryce, I guess you being a high school guy, not as detailed as Coach Haudricourt's journey, but what sports did you play growing up? What drew you to lacrosse?
Yeah, sure. So I started out with baseball when I was about 5 years old, and I played it for as long as I can really remember until I was in 7th grade. And I really stuck with it. And there was just a couple things that drew me away from it, a couple bad teammates, stuff like that. And I had a friend, and I was thinking about switching sports, and I had a friend that told me he played lacrosse and that he wanted me to try it out. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll give it a shot. And I honestly thought it was a ridiculous sport. I thought it was funny seeing everyone throwing a ball with a stick and everything. And I was not completely sold on it. And I was just about to start playing baseball in 7th grade. I was just about to try out for the middle school team. And the day before tryouts, I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to stick with lacrosse. I think that's just where I'm going to go. And from that point on, I played goalie in my 7th grade year, but really after that, I didn't like it my 7th grade year, and I just played on the field for the rest of my 8th and 9th grade year. and I made varsity as a freshman my freshman year playing midfield, but I didn't get a lot of playing time, and I'm not like I was like kind of like struggling with that, and I texted my coach. I'm like, hey, I don't even know what to do, and he's like, I know you played goalie. Our goalie's graduating. We need a guy right now. I mean, that'll give you a ton of playing time. He's like, it's up to you. It's your option. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And so that's how I got into the goalie position.
What position did you play in baseball?
I played catcher, and I loved catcher. Catcher was so much fun, but and I kind of see it. I feel like it translates a little bit to playing goalie in some ways.
Right, right. When I played high school football, not very good. Like I was okay, right? But when I started to transition to thinking about playing college baseball, one of the reasons why I wanted to try to become a catcher later in my high school career was similar to the fact that it was, to me, it was as close as you could get to playing football, right? Like you got to put the gear on and you were in the middle of everything. So I definitely see where you're coming from with that. All right, moving on, Coach. Talk a little bit about what drew you into coaching. What did you? I mean, what were the reasons why you wanted to become a coach? And maybe some of the experiences as a player that made you want to make that move into coaching.
Yeah, I think being a teacher was a huge part of that. And really, why I wanted to be a teacher and a coach is because my sophomore year in high school, I had a teacher at Malden named Corey Giesling, who was in the building, and that just made like a huge impact for the culture. And so I think like having when I was a player, he was only there for my freshman and sophomore year. And so as a player, junior and senior year, having a coach that was outside the building kind of made it hard to really grow the culture. As maybe as like well as it could have been. And I just when you go from that switch to being done playing and then all of a sudden sports is over, it's really hard when you grow up your entire life with sports being like kind of a fundamental part of it. And so when I jumped onto like the high school field, I just wanted to, you get to play a little bit, but then it was just as rewarding to see these guys score a goal or to get better. And honestly, I think I even enjoy it more coaching than playing, because you get to, it's still that same sense of accomplishment and joy. Like when they get so excited and it's really fulfilling to see them, succeed and to go on and play the sport at a higher level. And for that guy who, you're coaching to even be better than you, which is like our situation now at goalie. So,
along the same lines, I played for a guy, Len Jankowitz, legendary high school football coach in Buffalo for a very long time. And I remember being in fifth grade going to my first high school football game over there and just thought the world of him. And what I always said, I want to be like Coach Jank. He's the head football coach. He was the AD. Just a guy that I always looked up to. And one thing, and I don't know, Bryce, your mindset of this, but a lot of times high school players think, they're going to play forever, and they kind of look past, stacking days and take their opportunities, to play and be a part of a really good team for granted. And that's, again, I had this conversation with one of our players the other day, like the number of fingers you have holding up, that's how many years you have left of playing. So I totally get that. And that's the reason I wanted to become a coach, because I couldn't play anymore, and it was as close as I could get, to competition. But all right, Bryce, what are your plans after high school, man? You graduate here in what, 6-7 weeks?
So
what are your plans?
So I looked into the options as to like what I will do, and I looked at NCAA and I looked at MCLA and stuff, and I really felt like MCLA was kind of where I wanted to go. I wanted to play some club lacrosse. I mean, it just seems like low pressure. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I kind of always just been a Clemson fan since I can even remember, because my dad went to Clemson, so I was just a big fan as a whole. And so I just wanted to go there, and they don't have a lacrosse program, unfortunately, with NCAA, but they have an MCLA program, and I know all the coaches there and stuff, so it just seemed like the right place to go.
I think we talked about this on Friday, how competitive club sports is and the travel that's involved and all the other schools. Is this something, when you get there, you got to try out for? Is it, in agreement with the coaches that you'll be on the team? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a tryout right at the beginning, and there's a lot of people that don't make it. It's really selective. It's a tough, like, it's very competitive just as much as anything else would be. And it's not the same level as a D1 program or something, but I mean, you still have to work hard. You have to be a good player to make the team.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, Back to you, Coach Haudricourt. You had mentioned being an alum of Malden High School, graduating in 2014, being a member of our lacrosse program. Do you find that being an alum of the program, impacts the way that you lead these guys every single day, and impacts the way that you lead our program?
Yeah, I do. I think it's probably the foundation of everything that we do. Because I played here, and so I know I know our rivals really, really well. I know what it means to our guys to beat or to play against a Jail Man or Dorman or Greenville. But also just I grew up in 29662, right? Like in Malden, right? Like this is where I'm from. Like I know kind of what life like these guys are also going through, and kind of how we're not. I would say Malden High School is kind of like a very like blue collar and like white collar. It's like definitely a mixture of everybody. And so you really like that really shows on our team. Like we have a mixture of everybody, but like our foundation of like the people that we are in Malden. It's like we're gonna have to work harder, and everybody's gonna kind of be against us. Our colors are orange and brown, and so everybody hates us to begin with, like, and doesn't like us, and we definitely embrace that. And like what we're going to be founded on is like hard work, and like we're going to work hard at all the gritty stuff, all the physical stuff, all the stuff that people don't want to do. We're going to do it, and we're going to embrace it. And so we have brown jerseys, we have brown jeans. Like brown is not like the most popular sports color, but we embrace it. Like we want to be we want to stand out from everybody else. And I think like being a part of Malden, like where we have that, like nothing's going to be handed to us here. We're going to have to work for it. And, I had to do that, and the boys get that. And that's, it's a big part of our brand. And our program is alumni built. Our lacrosse program, we have like our entire coaching staff, except for, out of the 8 coaches we have, 6 are alumni. And then we have alumni come back and talk to the guys all the time. Like some of our biggest fans are alumni coming to our games right now, and they're really invested in like what we're doing. They love to see the program grow, and that's why we're at 3 teams this year with adding a C team, like 90 kids, and it's all because of like the group that came before them and like setting up that foundation. And we talk about it's our last week for our JV and our C team. This week is the last week of regular season, and seniors like Bryce, like okay, it's the last week of your regular season, but it's also the last week you get to pour into those guys. And they're like, just like I remember Corey Giesling, I also remember the seniors who, when I was a freshman, and how much like an impact they had on me of like wanting to continue to play lacrosse. And I know Bryce has already done that for all of them. And that's a big part of our Malden culture.
Outstanding. Yeah, I think that's a huge piece. Number one, you said that the mentality of, nothing's going to be handed to us. We don't have the fancy facilities. We don't have the, $200,000 budgets. Nothing is. We have what we have, and we got to make the best of it. And it makes when we do have success against teams that are the haves, the programs that are the haves, that much better, in my opinion. And I'm all in on the brown too, man. Like I've noticed what you've done with it. I love wearing it. I've noticed basketball teams are wearing it now, so it's something definitely that we need to embrace, because there's no other school in our state that's orange and brown. There's a ton of blue and white and red and black. We're the only orange and brown. I love it.
Right. So popular for schools to, we have the horns up, and so other schools love to try to give us the horns down. And that's just something we get to motivate ourselves with and fight against. And yeah, like we know other schools are going to do it no matter what. And like, it's awesome for us. Like you're just giving us fuel for the fire, boys. And so it works.
Right. All right, fellas, at the time that we're recording, and hopefully I have this accurate. We're 13-2 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? 3-1 in the district.
Mm-hmm.
Is that updated? So Bryce, you take the lead on this one. As a senior, as someone who's considered a leader within the lacrosse program and just as a student athlete in general, you know, rewinding back to January, what were some of the things, goals that you wanted to hit with 1 week one week left in your season? What were some of the things back then that you guys talked as a leadership group and as a program that you wanted to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so we wanted to win this year. We had seasons before where we came up short. We had big like first round exits, stuff like that, where we were just really disappointed where we thought we had a good program. And just as a senior, I really made sure that to make sure that everyone else knows that I want to win this year. And I don't want anyone who's not completely bought into that to even be on the team. And so I like absolutely push for that. I mean, I really wanted the region championship, and that was a tough loss, but we're using that to fuel for first round playoffs. And honestly, if anything, it might just push us to be even better throughout the playoffs. And we're even hoping for state championship appearance, state championship win. So we're hoping for everything. We're going all out this season.
Yeah, and you know, being around you guys and talking to Coach Haudricourt, like there's no reason to let, you know, that one game or whatever, you know, diminish what you guys have accomplished and the possibilities that lie ahead. You guys are bound for some great things here in the next couple of weeks. So, Coach, same question. You know, what were your expectations back in the fall and in open season in January and leading into this season? What were you and your coaches talking about?
I mean, this year we lost a good bit of seniors last year, but we have 18 this year. Some of those coming back from injury, like Jack Covington, starting Tackman. Some of those coming back from, you know, a bunch of other things. But really, we feel like we have all the pieces right now. I mean, we have 18 seniors. A lot of these guys have been like Bryce and Jack Covington and Corey Allison and, you know, Bryce's brothers on the defense, James Robinson. Like we have guys who've been on varsity for 3 years who know the culture. Like it's finally like, you know, you're kind of seeing like, you know, the cream rise to the top, like, and this is one, like we have everything we need. And so, and we're deep, you know, depth wise. And so like, we can do all the things that we want to do. I mean, we wanted to put that region banner up, but, you know, the boys know we have 2 more times to put, you know, 2024 on a banner right now. Like we can do upper state, we can do state. And it's a lot of it's just believing like, you know we can do that, but we got to kind of fight that. Like we have to understand, like, again, back to nothing's going to be handed to us. We're going to have to, you know, to claw our way up to that, like, and take it from everybody else. And we're on a little bit of a war path right now. Like we're kind of leaving other teams in pieces, and we're going to keep it going that way and just take it one step at a time and make sure we earn everything the right way.
Outstanding. Changing gears a little bit. You know, you being a former goalie yourself, you know, give me a scouting report on Bryce with him sitting right there. And, you know, do you see any characteristics from your style of play that he has? You know, do you see yourself in him? Go ahead and break down a scouting report on Bryce as a player and I guess as a leader too.
Okay. Yeah. Cause, we had similar, we're 10 years apart exactly. I graduated 10 years ago, and so he's 10 years younger exactly. And 10-year reunion from the high school. And so Bryce, I would say, is just a couple words that come to mind is explosive. When he's trying to make a save, he's unorthodox in how he does things. He just, and as a leader and a player, he just has, you know, he just has heart, and like he's just always saying he's always ready for the next thing, and he's going to give everything he absolutely has. And I've never seen the kid down on himself about anything. Like he just keeps going. He's, as a leader, he's so positive as a leader, and ready to keep going, ready to keep pushing. Anytime we play any like other sports, like we'll play pickup basketball sometimes, or we'll play, you know, spike ball. We'll just do any like random mini game. And I like to jump in there sometimes with boys. I'm picking Bryce because I know like his motor is going to go, like effort is not going to be the problem. Like we're going to have 100% effort. And usually we're on the same team. We end up winning because we're going to out hustle and out effort everybody else. And so he's explosive. He does things uncharacteristic, and really we're allowed, you know, as a team, we get to do and strategize in a lot of different ways, because he does things so unorthodox like we do. this is I don't want to get us to get out to too many other teams, but they probably know. Like we do something called a 10-man ride where we allow our goalie to go and go out and play defense a little bit when the other team's trying to clear the ball, and we get to do that because Bryce is athletic, and he's also really high IQ, and he's going to make the right plays. And I just have full trust in him as a coach. Like he's one of those guys where I try to coach him as much as I can, but I also learn a ton from Bryce Robinson and like how he plays the position. And I think you'll see our two other younger goalies are modeling their game after him. And so, the comparison, what we have similar, I think, is the heart and the motor, and like we're always fired up. But like, he does some things that I just wasn't capable of doing. And he just does it better. He's breaking the records. But he's just a great leader overall, and he's a 2-time captain. So, he has the trust of the locker room. He's probably had that since he was in 7th grade.
So speaking of records, 500th save recently, Bryce. I guess that bit of unorthodoxness, if that's even a word, works out pretty well. So congratulations on that. Haudricourt, how many saves did you have in your career? Were you close to 500, or did he break your record?
Close to 500, which I like to remind Bryce that we were only allowed to play 12 games. They're allowed to play 16. But I had half the amount of saves that he has, but I still have until this season's over the single season save percentage of 0.689, but currently he is at 0.715. So if this season ends well on Thursday for him, he'll have broken that as well.
Nice. Do it, Bryce. Do it. Pulling for you.
That's the goal. You want the next one to be better than you.
Absolutely, for sure. No doubt about it. All right, Bryce, after hearing all that stuff about you, we got to I don't know if we have to deflate that ego a little bit, but go ahead and break down some characteristics of Coach Haudricourt. Tell us what makes him tick and makes him the coach that he is from a player's perspective.
Yeah, so first of all, he's very high energy. So we go into practices every single day, no matter who we're playing. We're playing first-year teams that have never had a program before, and we're going into the game thinking we want to kill this team, put backups in as soon as possible. We want to just be the best team out here. And so the drive, the energy is always there. He always helps us really keep our energy up, even when we're down, no matter what's going on, like the energy's through the roof. He also holds us accountable very well. Whenever he sees anything that's not like high effort, high motor, he'll immediately call it out, and he'll make sure that we fix that as soon as possible. The game planning is great. Whenever we scout other teams, we know exactly what they have, who they're playing. We had a team that had a very good midfielder, and we just had a whole game plan to stop him, and it worked, and we ended up winning that game.
That was the Boiling Springs game, correct?
That was, yes.
Yeah, that was a outstanding effort by all you guys in plan. Well, that's some good stuff, guys. And obviously with, a head coach like you, Andrew, and leadership and talent and ability, and you, Bryce, and the number of guys we have on our roster, it's no surprise that we're at where we're at within our lacrosse program. So you guys keep it up, and we're all pulling for you. All right, next thing. I told you before, I got a list of I don't know, 3 or 4 questions just off the cuff in a segment that we call the Stampede. So it's essentially just some things more so I'm interested in to know about you guys. Bryce, we'll start with you. Your favorite binge-worthy TV show. What do you got?
That's a tough one. So there's 2 big ones that I'd have to pick between, but it's either The Office or Breaking Bad. I love The Office.
Okay.
I think it's a hilarious show, and I've watched it probably 3 times, but
all the way through?
Awesome. Yeah, all the way through, every episode, even the super fan episodes. I've done everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've never seen a full episode of The Office.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
is that really bad? Am I the only one in America?
Yeah, you got to get on that. Teach us some life lessons, for sure.
Coach Haudricourt, what do you have? Your favorite binge-worthy TV show?
I think The Office is good, but I'm gonna get away from TV show, and I like to every now and again binge watch like all the Rocky movies, and just those are get some real inspiration and quotable stuff and halftime speeches said just from watching the Rocky movies. But you can't go wrong with The Office either. I mean, I was just talking to my wife today about management of any office. I think I can solve with something from The Office. You know, like I've learned what not to do in businesses and management probably from The Office, and also learned what works as well. It's relatable for sure.
Okay, I'll have to get on that then. If I can get some leadership lessons from The Office, I'm going to go ahead and jump on that. All right, Bryce, the most influential person in your life and why?
Muted, buddy.
Yep, I figured that out. Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, there's both of my parents are super influential. They like drive me in everything I do. They push me. They give me all the like resources to be the best that I can be. Um, I think my brother helps me really just like drive myself. Every time I'm trying to do my best, he's always pushing me to do even better, and I do the same back for him, and we really build off each other. But yeah, it's really just my family is a huge influence on my life.
Good. And while we go to Coach Haudricourt, why don't you flip a light on so we can
Yeah,
see
thank you.
you're
I
not
was waiting for a good
sitting in the
moment.
dark.
Yeah, it's the sun's went down, boys.
There we go. Now we can see you.
All right, appreciate that. I was like, it's a good moment for this.
All right, Coach Haudricourt, same question. Most influential person in your life and why?
Man, I'm gonna have to go. I mean, some of my former coaches, like Corey Houston, like I said, like, and he probably doesn't even know like the impact that he had on me. But definitely him. Um, and then I'm also a Christian, so I have to go like that route, and I think I use that a lot, like parable wise, like as far as leadership, like you have to serve, and so I think like service based leadership, and anybody who does that, I definitely follow. And then athletic wise, it's like, people like Kobe Bryant, Peyton Manning, cliche, but, hardest workers in the room. So we use that a good bit too.
Outstanding. Bryce, are you a reader of books?
Oh man, I used to be. I really miss those days. I was big on Harry Potter. I've read the entire series. I absolutely loved it, and for some reason, I just haven't been as much into it. There's a few subjects. I mean, a few topics I really like reading. I like to there's like a theme between these. There's like Animal Farm and 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. I thought those were all really good books. But yeah, just not anymore. I miss those days.
Okay. Coach Haudricourt, is there anything you're currently reading or a really good book that you could recommend?
I'm big into podcasts, but I was looking for the name of it. A book I just recently read was it was his autobiography of John Thompson. He was the old Georgetown coach. He coached people like Allen Iverson and Patrick Ewing, and so it was like I'm a history teacher too, so it talks a little bit about like desegregation and things going on during the like while he's a player as well, but just him as a coach, his leadership style, and how do you deal with AI is probably like a interesting person to coach, and so I don't know if I have any AIs, but it was definitely really cool to get that perspective of how to like lead a program. So I was like the autobiography of John Thompson. I'm trying to think. I can't remember what it was called though.
I know I put you on the spot.
Yeah, I have a list of books I complete because I'm a very slow reader. But hold on, let me see what I got. It is called "I Came as a Shadow" by John Thompson.
Okay, I have to write that one down. Bryce, do you even know who Allen Iverson is?
I do know. I love Allen Iverson. I think he's such a baller.
Okay.
Honestly, my favorite era of basketball is definitely early 2000s. My favorite player all time is Tracy McGrady. Just love how he plays. But
Okay.
yeah, it's that kind of basketball. I love Tracy McGrady. I love Allen Iverson. I think Steph Curry right now is a baller. I mean, I like that kind of like scoring, like really like shifty or just like just ballers.
Super athletic, skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
He hates
last
Larry
one for
Bird,
you
though.
guys. You hate Larry Bird, Bryce?
Oh, I can't stand Larry Bird.
Why?
I don't know. Whenever I watch old basketball, I just feel like I'm unimpressed. I watch highlights. I'm watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and
Unimpressed with Larry Bird. Unbelievable.
I see
Hot
Larry
take of
Bird
the
throw a
year.
fake, and like the guy turns around, and I'm like, "Come on, it's NBA basketball. You shouldn't be falling for fakes like that." Oh no,
Dude,
just
you need to
unimpressed.
go. You need to go when we come back to school on Tuesday. You need to walk up to Coach McLean and say, "Hey, man, unimpressed with Larry Bird," and see the expression on his face.
Yeah.
I dare
Bryce
you to
tries
do it.
to compare me to Larry Bird and say I played against, and when I played lacrosse, I played against plumbers and electricians. So that's what he feels about Larry Bird.
That's crazy. All right, everybody's got their opinion. All right, last one. Bryce, you can have dinner with any person in history. Who is it and why?
Oh man. Oh man, I think I'd have to go sit at the table with Jesus Christ. That's a big one. I'd go. That'd be awesome. That'd be so dope.
Coach Haudricourt?
I'm gonna go. I just look at my book list. I also read KG's autobiography, and he's a Malden guy, a big ticket, and so I think he definitely defines a little bit of what Malden was about. And so I think Kevin Garnett would be an awesome conversation to sit with him and to get his views on just like Malden, but just also just like his like he was like a really passionate player, and just to pick his brain a little bit about that too.
The Adidas "Anything is Possible" commercial could be one of the best like sports commercials in my opinion of all time. I think that was awesome. It was awesome, and it's really cool too to walk in that gym and see his jersey up there, knowing that dude walked our hallways and played in the gym and was a part of what we got going on. So, but guys, outstanding answer, great conversation. I appreciate y'all taking the time to sit down and let people know what you're about, what makes you tick. Informing everybody of the great things of our lacrosse program, and again, I can't thank you enough for sitting down. And again, Coach, you just came off the field and taking 40 minutes to talk to us. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're good to get our brand out there and keep this thing going. We're not done yet.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Mav Chatter, and a special thank you to Coach Haudricourt and Bryce for taking the time to chat with us. Our goal is to post content with student athletes, coaches, faculty, staff, and administration twice a month, so please subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to the Ranch newsletter by visiting maldenathletics.com. You will receive an email each Sunday night or Monday morning updating you with game results, schedules, ticket information, and the other great things going on inside Mavland. Again, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And as always, go Mavs.